Sound speed. Camera speed.
Rolling.
And we're rolling. And action. Oh man, look at that. This is a professional outfit we got here.
All right, so what's your name?
My name is Dan Reardon, and I am originally from West Kingston, Rhode Island. I went to URI. Am I talking about URI?
Yeah.
Am I talking about URI?
Yeah. We'll talk about URI.
I went to URI in 1999, graduated in 2003, made it through in 4 years. It's pretty good. And and I did communications and a little bit of like English, little bit of film. At the time, they didn't have a film major. I think that happened like right after I left. So I would have liked to have been a film major, but did communications and have never used it. We first started filming little videos. I mean, the first time that we ever hung out, we made a horror movie. You know, the first time I ever went over to Dana's house, who ended up being my partner here at Gnarly Bay, like our group of friends, we would make these skits that were like, you know, silly skits that were based on this show that MTV had at the time called The State. We made a version of that called The Town, and it was just as stonery and just as dumb, and it was just the stupidest stuff ever. Like if you looked at it now, you'd be like, these kids are absolutely like obnoxious idiots. But you know, at the time, it was the funnest thing ever, and you know, it just like led to, I guess it led to all of this. You know, so that's pretty cool.
And like, at what point did you start to realize that actually doing film and making videos was a possibility for like a career path?
I guess, you know, when we were in college, we started doing like little things for people. Like at the time, people didn't have computers where they could make slideshows. Like slideshows are so like, you know, easy to do these days. But back in the day, like people, when they're having like an 80th birthday party or like a graduation or something like that, people would come to us and be like, can you film all of our pictures and crossfade it and put some Sarah McLachlan on it and like, you know, make us a nice touching video for a birthday party or whatever. And so we kind of did that. And then we started making like little promo videos for random companies that were around. And then I think it was senior year of college, a local shoe store asked us to make a commercial. And we made an absolutely ridiculous commercial that like at the time we thought was awesome, but like looking back, it was just like notoriously terrible commercial.
You want new shoes, but your feet need them.
I dare you to resist.
I'm going to feet first! How you doing? Woo! Hey! Woohoo! Now that's feet first.
Feet first.
Rhode Island's leading source for New Balance.
Wakefield. He's great.
At that time, we were doing that out of Dana's parents' place in like this really tiny. It was like his dad's home office that we kind of repurposed. We had like one computer on one side of the room, and then like if you spun your chair around, you'd almost hit the other chair, and there was another computer on that other side of the room. So we at the time, like one of us had a PC, and I moved the PC over there, and then we slowly but surely got enough money to buy a Mac tower, and then, you know, then it was almost like we had a business. But at the same time, we didn't really want to be business people. We wanted to make enough money to travel and to do these additional things. So that's kind of what we did. We did odd jobs like construction at the same time as doing odd jobs like the Feet First commercial or a wedding or a picture video or a graduation video or something like that, to make enough money to travel and then also kind of slowly but surely get better equipment.
And when did you like really decide that it was time to transition into something like this? And did you, at the beginning, did you have enough contracts to really immediately get going, or was it sort of, there was a time period in there where you were starting to really get Gnarly Bay going, but there wasn't much going on?
Yeah, I mean, when we were starting to like there's a really funny like moment where we were trying to like actually do this for a career. So like we did a couple of terrible things, like really terrible things. One of them was like we made this missing poster, like with the old picture of Dana when he was a little kid. And it said missing on the top, and then on the bottom it said a way to make your pictures come alive. And so at the, and then at the bottom of that was like, call Dan and Dana Productions at like, and then we gave like Dana's house number, and it was just like absolutely terrible. Like everybody that we went to go put them in like local pizza stores or, and everyone's like, absolutely not, we're not putting that up. And then the second thing, well, we did a bunch of terrible things, but the next thing we did was we started cold calling high schools. We would cold call and just be like, hey, we did a graduation video for Charo High School. We were wondering if you guys would like to do the same for your, your graduating class. And can we come meet with you guys? And like half of the time, it would end in us like messing up our words and just hanging up the phone and be like, fuck, like, we'll get them. There's a lot more high schools out there. We'll get them next time.
What's like, can you talk about a couple of the things you've done more recently and like what you use now as far as cameras and the main equipment?
We definitely, these days we're chasing all these different new technologies and things like that. Looking back, the thing that really got us excited about getting into film and thinking that we can make it a career was when 2997 turned into 24p. That's like super nerdy, but that was like the transition where it was like, this shit looks good now. Like now we can make stuff that's like looks like the movies. We never knew exactly why the movies look so much better than the behind the scenes. Because back in the day, you watch the behind the scenes, you're like, why does it look like this versus that? Like when they show the movie, it looks amazing. And then they show the behind the scenes, it looks like shit. And 24p was the answer to that. So once 24p came around and then the digital SLRs came around, and then, now you're chasing 4K, you're chasing, Cinelog things and recorders and gimbals and drones and all this stuff. So we're trying to keep up with all that. We're buying or trying all this new equipment and making sure that we stay at the, at the forefront of the technology. Some cool projects that we've worked on recently were, we've done a lot of stuff with the NFL in the past couple of years, which has been really fun, like mini documentary stuff where you go out and you capture somebody's story and turn it into like a tiny little documentary. That's been really fun. We recently did a project down in the Amazon that was like a 7-day journey on the Amazon. That was really cool. For personal projects, the most recent thing that we put out there in the world was a Rambo Day bachelor party extravaganza. That's gotten some really good traction on the web, and it was always just like a fun challenge to come up with the most ridiculous day possible and then try to capture it as well as we could and then edit it as well as we could, and it turned into a 20-minute film that people are really liking. So that's one of the newest things that we put out there. And
if people want to check out some of the stuff you have up on the internet, where's the place to go for that?
We actually, after all these years, finally made a website like last week. So it was, which is kind of hilarious. But we've had websites in the past, but they were pretty terrible. And now with this newfangled contraptions of simplified web design, we were able to make one really quickly and finally connect all the dots of all the stuff we do so that people can quickly figure out what we do. So gnarlybay.com is where that is. And then beyond that, most of our passion projects and like kind of cooler, more interesting projects are on vimeo.com/gnarlybay. And, we're on all the other nerdy social media stuff too. So,
Awesome. I feel like that's definitely enough to cut together.
Absolutely.
Cool.